Hey, how's it going, everybody? I know I'm late, so let's jump right into this. The opening scene, I like the opening scene. Joel and Ellie camping on the trail, eating snacks. Sounds like a fun time. But quickly we find out, not really. Because they're missing the mark with Ellie's character completely. They don't get Ellie at all. And I was thinking as I was watching it, maybe it would have been better if they actually let the actress watch the game. Not even play the game, just watch some gameplay, watch the characters' cutscenes so she knows how the character acts. But the way the dialogue, the way the character is written is wrong. They're missing the mark here. So Ellie brought up Tessa's death like she did in the game. But here, she gets defensive and starts pushing it on Joel. He's like, hey, it's not my fault, it's your fault. You wanted to get the battery. Don't pin it on me. It's not my fault. It's on you. And she does so angrily. That's an issue that I brought up before. The way she delivers her lines, it feels like she's angry. And in this case, she is. She's like, it's not my fault. It's on you. Don't pin it on me. And that's not how Ellie handled the situation at all in the game.
Ellie.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this.
Look, I've been thinking about...
I don't want your sorries.
I wasn't going to say I'm sorry. I was going to say that I've been thinking about what happened. Nobody made you or Tess take me. Nobody made you go along with this plan. You needed a truck battery or whatever, and you made a choice. So don't blame me for something that isn't my fault.
What the fuck? I can't believe we did that.
Stop.
We just left her to die.
Stop. You stay close to me. We have to move.
Man.
Ellie in the game was sorry. She felt bad about what happened. And she did take a certain amount of responsibility for what occurred. We know Ellie should be snarky. She should have a little bit of an attitude. She have those quick-witted comebacks. But the way she delivers her lines, that angry demeanor, plus the attitude and mixing all the sarcasm together, she's coming off as mean. Because she delivers her line as if she's angry. She throws insults. And it's not lighthearted in the like it is in the game. In the show, she's being serious. And that's not the character at all. I feel like if the actress literally just saw some cutscenes of the game, she would know she's not playing the character at all. But then again, you can't blame the actress because she's being directed that way. She's being written the character is being written that way, right? So, yeah, they're missing the ball with Ellie's character completely. Like, it's to the point where, remember when in the game when she finds the arcade machine and you get excited because she's getting excited and she's a kid, man. She's having fun and you're happy watching her have fun, right? But in the show, she's always upset with Joel. She's always in a bad mood. And then now she finds the arcade game and she's playing on it and she's all excited. And I don't feel happy that she's excited and she's happy. I feel like, okay, you're selfish. You only get happy and you're only excited when you're doing things that you want to do. And I mean, I don't know, man. They're missing the mark with her character and it's really ruining it. And the worst part is Ellie is my favorite character in the game. And to see them mess it up like this is like, come on, man.
Come on, man.
They did do a better job with the rendition of another scene later on in the show.
Hey, look, about Tess. I don't even know what
Here's how this thing's gonna play out. You don't bring up Tess. Ever. Matter of fact, we just keep our histories to ourselves. Secondly, don't tell anybody about your condition. They think you're crazy, they'll try to kill you. And lastly, you do what I say when I say it. We clear?
Sure.
Repeat it.
What you say goes.
Good.
Listen, about Tess.
If I'm taking you with me, there's some rules you gotta follow. Rule 1, you don't bring up Tess, ever. Matter of fact, we can just keep our histories to ourselves. Rule 2, you don't tell anyone about your condition. They see that bite mark, they won't think it through, they'll just shoot you. Rule 3, you do what I say when I say it. We clear?
Yes.
Repeat it.
What you say goes.
The way they're going about with Ellie is like she has this deep set resentment and hatred built in within her, right? And we obviously know where that stems from, right? She has gone through severe loss and she takes that out on this clicker. She literally gets up close to it, puts a knife in his forehead and literally like cuts it. Like she hates this thing. She hates what these things represent because she has lost so much because of it. And that's taking the character in a completely different direction than the game. Her mindset is very different than the mindset of Ellie in the game. Ellie in the show, Ellie in the game are two completely different characters. And quite honestly, they're not doing Joel justice either. As they're walking, Joel is explaining the whole Cordyceps outbreak, the outbreak day. He's explaining the whole story from bottom up to Ellie. And honestly, that's not something Joel would do. And the way Joel delivers, the way Joel speaks in the show, the tonality of his voice is not like Joel in the game. And I mean, that's just bad casting, right? I mean, nothing against Pedro Pascal, but his voice is not Joel's voice. It's not powerful. No offense, Pedro. It's not powerful. It doesn't have that, that oomph to it. It's more soft. It's more emotional. I mean, again, Joel did get emotional in the game. Definitely he got emotional in the game. But he needs that authoritative voice, right? It's deep, it's hard, it can be harsh at times, and Joel is just his voice is too soft. And the worst, and again, just like Ellie, he's like a different character. His voice is soft, and so the way he delivers his lines are soft, but his lines themselves are more soft. The way he doesn't speak and the way he speaks, it's like he's just more soft. He just has a softer demeanor in the show. Like I said in my previous review, he's not in control of his own emotions. And he can't handle this girl. He can't handle Ellie. Like, Ellie's running all over him. Like, what's going on here? All right, so enough about Joel and Ellie. Let's talk about these two side characters that are actually the main characters of this episode, because Bill and Frank, honestly, they did their story well. I liked it, but I have some major issues. I don't need to see that. Okay? I don't need to see what I saw. I had to fast forward. I didn't even watch through some of that stuff. Like, I mean, okay, come on.
Come on, man.
All right, so let's back it up a little bit first. We first get introduced to Bill. I mean, Bill's pretty cool, man. Bill's like the ultimate handyman. He's walking into Home Depot, power goes out. He literally goes over to like the main power center, what do you call it? Turns it back on for the entire city or whatever. I mean, like, the man can fix everything and anything. He is like the top tier prepper, you know what I mean? He is that guy that you want to be with in this situation. But the thing is, they changed the story around completely. I think they did good with Bill, but we see their whole backstory, right? We meet Frank. We find out how Bill and Frank meet, and you just see it in Bill's eyes, like this guy is falling in love with Frank. And here's the thing. With the game, they kept that really subtle, right? We just get a really emotional note from Frank, right? That's like, okay, maybe these two weren't friends, all right? Because that was pretty emotional, right? Like, they were really tight and emotionally had some really close emotional like dependencies or whatever, or they had something going on. And then we also find Ellie finds a magazine, like a dirty magazine, and you know what was in it, right? So you could make the argument that Bill wasn't gay because there was honestly not enough information to actually conclusively say that he was. They just subtly insinuated it in the game, right? They didn't throw it in your face. In this show, though, they not only threw it in your face, they rubbed it in. Like, I don't need to see that. I didn't catch who directed this episode or wrote this episode, but take it easy.
Hey, take it easy.
Like, come on, man. Like, come on. I don't need to see all that, all right? Cool part is we get to see an interaction with Joel and Tess. We get to see Tess again. Joel and Tess interacting with Bill and Frank. They're having dinner, and Bill is not having any of this. He's like, why are these random strangers here? Frank was communicating with Tess over radio. And at one point, Frank and Tess go off, and Joel and Bill were talking. They're like, we can really help each other. I can give you this. You can give me that. And Bill had the gun in Joel's face, and Joel's like, get that gun out of my face.
Get that gun out of my face!
That was a pretty boss moment for Joel, to be honest. That was cool. I like seeing that. I want to see some assertiveness, some dominance from Joel. But at this point, I'm like, all right, Joel and Ellie are side characters in this episode. I'm here to watch. The Last of Us is a story about Joel and Ellie as they make their way through, their journey, and they meet all these characters along the way. But this episode halts that and focuses on two side characters. I'm here to watch Joel and Ellie. I'm not watching the Bill and Frank show. I'm watching the Joel and Ellie show, right? I mean, I get it. This is a TV show. There's a lot more time that they can play with, right? And so they have time to flesh out these characters. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense. But then again, you know, it feels like a distraction, especially because they're still not getting Joel and Ellie right. If they got the Joel and Ellie dynamic down packed, I wouldn't feel as bad focusing on Bill and Frank. The Bill and Frank storyline is completely new for this show, right? It wasn't in the game. Yeah, we knew they had some sort of relationship, but we didn't know to what extent. We didn't know what, right? We didn't see any of that context there. But we're getting all that fleshed out in the show. And to focus so much on Bill and Frank, and honestly, their story was written so much better. Their story is written so much better than Ellie and Joel's relationship. Bill and Frank's relationship, the emotions there, it's so much more tight feeling. Like, that dynamic is done better than Joel and Ellie's dynamic as of right now. And that's what's annoying me, right? More so, that's what's annoying me. Like, why are we focusing on two side characters when we haven't gotten our two main characters done right yet? So, jumping back to Bill and Frank, man, those strawberries saved me from having to fast forward again. But it comes to the point where Frank is really sick. They're really old now. Bill and Frank are really old. And that's different from the game as well. Like, the age. The way Bill starts off, that's more like the age of Bill in the game. But now Bill and Frank are really, really old. They changed the story completely. So Frank wants to die, and he comes up with this elaborate plan throughout the day of what Bill should do to give him the most comfortable death, right? You know, take him out to dinner, poison his wine, and kill him off, right? And he's like, if you love me, you'll do this for me. But come on, Frank, if you love Bill, you won't make him do that to you. You won't make him, this is going to be, you want your death to be as easy as possible. But this day is going to be probably the worst day of Bill's life, right? If you love Bill, you wouldn't want to put him through that, right? But then again, Bill could look at this as like, I'm doing this one last request from the person that I love the most in the entire world. And so, I mean, obviously Bill would be happy to do it. I mean, obviously he doesn't want to do it. He wants Frank to be alive. But if this is what Frank really wants, he's going to do it. It's a sad situation. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because I'm still annoyed that we're not focusing on Joel and Ellie, so I'm annoyed with Frank. But I feel like that was a bit selfish from Frank, you know, to ask that of Bill. But I mean, who else are you gonna ask? You know, it's a tough situation, so I can't really judge. But what Bill ends up doing, he doesn't just poison Frank's wine; he poisons the whole bottle, and they both die together. Joel and Ellie come across the house, right? That's completely different from the game. Joel and Ellie actually interact with Bill, right, when they're getting the car battery. But this is completely different. Ellie reads a letter, Joel finds out what happens, and that's that, right? Joel and Bill don't interact at all after the fact. And honestly, that letter hit, like the part about Tess, and Joel walks out. And honestly, it hit because of the game. When I heard Tess, I thought of Tess in the game. I thought of the relationship that Joel and Tess had in the game. I didn't think about Tess in the show. And that's a problem, honestly. And so the show begins to close out. Ellie pops in the cassette. And honestly, back it up a little bit. Ellie getting in the car, being fascinated with the car, acting like she's in a spaceship, right? And then, you know, Joel putting the seatbelt over her. That was the best dynamic between the two so far, right? Ellie was actually acting like a child. She was actually acting like a kid. She wasn't angry and pissed off and irritated and throwing insults. She was being more like her character in the game. And so I think that was the best moment that Joel and Ellie had so far in the show. So Ellie pops in the cassette. They play the song that Bill and Frank were playing on the piano, symbolizing, you know, their relationship and all that. And the show closed out. Honestly, the song was touching at the end. So, I mean, I was talking to my brother about this, and he says, you know, and my mom said it as well. She's watching the show too, that this episode felt like one cohesive story. And it should be, because you're telling, it's a whole story arc. You're telling the whole character arc of Bill and Frank and their story closes out in the end, right? So you could look at this episode as a filler. Honestly, this episode was a filler, because you're telling a story of these side characters that don't really have much to do with the continuation of the story, right? Because they just came for supplies. Joel and Ellie just came for supplies and then left, right? Whereas in the game, there's actually a relationship dynamic between Joel and Bill because Bill is still alive and you play a mission with him, you know? There's a whole lot more meat. There's a whole lot more relevance to Bill in the game than he is over in this show. It's more like a detour, and then we come back on track. So I don't know, they made some big changes in this episode, some big changes. And not only did they make some big changes, Bill and Frank, they solidify other changes that they've made with Joel and Ellie, because their characters aren't on point either. So while the episode was good as a quality show, as The Last of Us, complete detour. Very different from The Last of Us. So that's a problem. And I don't know if they're going to get these characters right. Like I said, the dynamic between Bill and Frank, I felt that more than Joel and Ellie. So that's a problem. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What did you guys think about the episode? And I'll see you guys in episode 4. Take care. Bye-bye.